Hello, my name is Lisa and today I will present to you about a software called Smart Integrated Management, or SIM for short. The purpose of this overview presentation is to give you a broad view about SIM software. There are many similar software besides SIM. So why one need to choose SIM? I am going to give you an overview about SIM, its underlying architecture and features. In most cases also give you a comparison with the other softwares. I hope by doing so will help you make better and informed decision whether to use SIM or another software for your company. This is the global view of SIM architecture. SIM uses MySQL or MariaDB as the database engine. SIM also has an API server called SIM-Core. SIM-Core is built by using Microsoft.NET Core technology. SIM has complementary web application called SIM Angular normally hosted in SIM-Core. SIM also has component called SIM Report Server. This component duty is to serve report for its web application or scheduling a report. All these components can be run in your machine as on-premise or on cloud. There are three user interfaces that user can use to access SIM. The primary interface is a SIM desktop application built on .NET Framework. The other interface is through web browser such as Chrome to access its web application interface. And the last interface is through SIM mobile application run on Android device. In case your other legacy systems need to interact with SIM, you can do so by connecting to its database or its API server or SIM-Core. As I mentioned earlier that SIM server can be on-premise within your company data center or office. Or you can put in on cloud. Operating system needed for server can be Windows or Linux. Except for SIM report server component must run on Windows machine. The database can be MySQL or MariaDB. But MariaDB is the preferred choice. If you already have a database server you can utilize that existing database server instead. Again the primary interface is through Windows app called SIM Desktop app. These are the non-exhaustive list of SIM available transactions grouped by section. The first section is purchase. It includes purchase request, purchase order, goods receipt, purchase cost, purchase invoice, global purchase invoice, and purchase return. The second section is sales. It includes sales order, proforma invoice, goods issue, shipment, delivery return, sales invoice, global sales invoice, sales return and point of sale. The third section is intern. It includes stock transfer request, stock transfer, quality control, QC transfer, and cycle count. In the GL section you will have general journal, special journal, and scheduled journal. In production you will have work order, job order, material usage return, job result, and calculate cost of goods manufactured. For cashier section you will have cashier receipt, cashier payment, cash or bank in, and cash or bank out. For asset you will have asset list and asset under construction. For account receivable you will have AR request list, customer payment, AR settlement, AR debit or credit note, and AR clear in or reject gyro. For account payable you will get similar menus as in account receivable. For details about these menus you can see other presentation. SIM also has several capabilities. SIM is plugin based system meaning you can purchase and use only some subset of the plugins. For example if you are a trading company then normally you do not need the production plugin. Or if you are a manufacturing company that do not have a storefront then you will not need point of sale plugin. SIM support multiple currency. It means you can do export, import with your customers or suppliers. You can have transactions in rupiah, US dollar, yuan, Australian dollar, euro, pound and so on. SIM support multiple location. Location here is your warehouse. So you can have multiple warehouse locations spread in many cities. All are integrated in a single central database. SIM support multiple unit. Unit here is a unit of measure for your material. For example piece, box, liter, kilogram, dozen, and so on. SIM has automatic batch numbering internally called tag no. If you have a manual batch number then SIM support it as well. It can even include expiry date if your material has it. For stock valuation SIM support either FIFO or average. This is need to be configured in the beginning and must not be changed later on. By default the valuation is FIFO based. If you need to use barcode, then SIM support both 2D barcode and QR code. SIM uses automatic document numbering system. This includes automatic taxation number. Since SIM has automatic batch no, then its stock valuation can be tracked per tag no. These are the list of available features in SIM. It has section about user, security, customization, report, data integrity, database, advanced, as well as interface.
Wow, it is a very long list of features, Lisa. I do not think I understand all of them.
Do not worry, Mike. I will explain each one in greater detail later on.
Thank you, Lisa.
User management is where you can manage both the user role and the user itself. Other software may limit the number of users that you can use in their system. To increase the number of users, you are required to purchase more licenses. This means more cost to your company. But there are other software that do not give you the number of user limitation. In this case, you have as many users as you want. Normally they allow you to have many roles though. Some even still use physical USB dongle as the license monitoring system. When a dongle is somehow broken, then you need to wait for the vendor to send the replacement before you can use the software. How about your existing system, Mike?
Fortunately, my existing system does not incorporate such limitation. How about in SIM, Lisa?
Well, in SIM you can have as many as needed for both roles and users. Unless your license stated a limited number of users. But do not worry, that is not the default option. SIM also do not use USB dongle to check license but based on license file. You just need to copy the license file in both the server and client computer. By the way, user password in SIM is saved in a hashed format. So it is non-reversible and secure. There is a security measure that will block your user when that user wrongly entered password up to 3 times. You can also block or unblock a user as well. And finally, a single user ID can be used to access all interfaces, desktop, web, or mobile. This is the interface to manage your user. Each user can have his own language setting. For example, you Mike has English as your language setting, while me on the other hand has Indonesian as my language setting. When you log into SIM, you will see all the menus in English, while I will see them in Indonesian. The default language is in English. The translation can be configured in master language to suit your need.
This is great for my company since my company is actually subsidiary of a parent company in the overseas. That means I can use Indonesian language while my parent company can access the SIM using their preferred language. What about other language such as Chinese?
Glad you asked, Mike. Currently only Indonesian and English available by default. But do not worry, you can add other language such as Chinese in the master language by providing the translations. I know it is a lot of work to do, but it is more on a one-time work only.
What about that WhatsApp no for?
Oh, that is for the experimental chatbot feature in SIM. You will see it later. Now, sometimes your employee may be resigned or transferred to another department or location. And a new employee is coming to replace the existing employee. In this case, you will need to create a new user for him, her to enter the system. You will then need to manually set all the privileges for this new user similar or even the same as the previous user. This can be tedious work and error-prone too. In SIM you can do so by using copy user feature, while other software normally does not have such feature.
Yes, that is true, Lisa. In my existing system, the privileges are based solely on role only. So a user with the same role will definitely have same privileges.
In SIM you have some privileges that can be set in user level, not role level. And having copy user feature is such a lifesaver. For auditing purpose, SIM has user log feature. With user log you can see when a user is logged into the system, when he log out, and from where. This is useful when a user suddenly report to you that his or her user is suddenly blocked for no reason. This may mean somebody is trying to log in using his or her user identity. With this log you can see when that happens and from which computer IP address. Other software normally does not have this feature. This is the sample interface for the user log.
Wow, this is a cool feature for my boss. He keeps worry since last week. He suspect that someone else in the company log in using his identity into the system.
Well, in this case the feature will be loved by your boss then. Menu management is where you set the menus that are accessible to a specific role. In other software, this normally shown as a data grid or table-like interface, where you can check the boxes for the menu and its rights, such as whether the role can save a document, can edit, can delete, can print, and so on. In SIM, this is shown in simple tree-like structure resembling the menus themselves. The action rights, such as can save, can edit, can delete, and so on, are handled in separate feature called form management. This is the sample view of menu management in SIM. For example, if you want a role can access all menus under sales transaction, just click the sales and you will be prompted whether you want to check all its children. When you are done, you can just click Update button on the lower right corner.
Lisa, this is more intuitive than my existing system. In my current system, it is shown in a grid that I find it difficult to find the parent or child menu.
Yes, Mike. SIM has a much simpler approach to setting this menu management. Now let's talk about form management that I mentioned before. In SIM, you do not have a bunch of checkboxes that state can add, can edit, can delete, can print, and so on. Instead, you will be presented with the form or menu that you want to restrict. For example, when you want role sales to not be able to delete a sales order document, what you need to do is a simple 3 steps. First, choose the sales role. Second, choose the sales order menu and wait until the sales order form loaded into the screen. Lastly, just right-click the delete button and choose hide. Now, when a user with role sales log in into SIM and then go to sales order menu, in his sales order form the delete button will disappear and thus make him not be able to delete a document.
Lisa, this is a nicer way to put a restriction. Is there any more that SIM can do for the restriction?
Sure, Mike. In SIM, you can give default value to a field and then disable the field. Thus make the user restricted to that value only. Example of this is for a production user is restricted to single machine in material usage menu. If your user can use more than one machine, let's say 3 machines, A, B, or C, then you can make variance 1 for each value. When the user enter material usage, then he will be presented with the 3 variants to choose. You can even change the position and size of a control in the form when needed. For example, you want to move the print button from the lower position to the upper right corner of the form. This is the interface for the form management, Mike.
Lisa, this is a very cool feature indeed. So for example, if I want the user not be able to enter backdate transaction, I can just disable the doc date parameter then?
Very keen observation of you, Mike. It is true, since SIM default date shown in a transaction form is always today. Then by disable the document date parameter, you make the user unable to change the date and thus cannot enter transaction with past dates or even future dates. SIM has shortcut management feature. With this feature, you can customize yourself a shortcut for a menu. For example, if you frequently access sales order menu, you can assign Ctrl plus F5 to open the menu. In other software, the keyboard shortcut may be available but already fixed to certain keyboard keys and cannot be changed by you. Or they have toolbar shown with most common menus. If your software is a web-based, then it is normally not available. This is the view of the shortcut management in SIM. What about your existing software, Mike?
As you said, Lisa, my software has a toolbar with icons of the common menus such as sales order. But unfortunately, it is not customizable.
Having a toolbar is actually good too, Mike. But the downside is that it take up some of your screen space. As I mentioned earlier, SIM support multi-language by design. You can configure the translation via menu master language. The default language is English. The language chosen affect the menu names, form title, labels inside the form, and even error or information message. Unfortunately, for a report in other language, you must copy the report file and change the labels yourself in the report designer. Other software normally support only single language, or multi-language but limited to the menu names only.
That is true, Lisa. My existing software is in English and there is no such language setting.
This is the interface for the master language, Mike. Here you can see that I have 2 other languages set. CN for Chinese and ID for Indonesian. Now let's talk about document series. Document series is a concept unique to SIM and used in generating document number. The series must be 3 characters in length. This can be used to differentiate document types within the same menu. For example, for a sales order menu, In the same menu you can divide into two types. Sales order local with series SOL and sales order export with series SOE. So every local sales order documents will starts with SOL for the document number. And the export sales order will all starts with SOE for the document number. With this you can even know which type of sales order just by looking at the document number. SIM document number is 15 characters in length. It starts with 3 characters document series, a dash, a 6-digit date, a dash, and a 4-digit counter. The 6-digit date is in 2-digit year, 2-digit month, and 2-digit day format. The 4-digit counter is reset each day. So if you forget to enter a sales order document, which document date must be 2 days ago. And if 2 days ago you have 100 sales orders for that day, then your late document will have counter 101 and the document number will still be sorted nicely. In summary, from the document number you can know what document it is, when is the document date, and the counter for that day. What more, document series is not just a 3-character string but also has tight integration with security. For example, SOL can only be accessed by user A and B only, while series SOE can be accessed by C who work in export department. You can also limit materials, locations, customers, and so on based on document series. So it is an important and essential concept in SIM. How about other software? Well, some software support manual document numbering, meaning you can type anything as the document number. While this gives you the most flexibility, it does so with penalties. It is obviously hard to remember what is the last number that you already used. It is even more challenging when 2 users input the same document type. The number user entered may be wrong due to free text nature. When the format is not correctly specified, then you cannot use the number for ordering the document from old to new ones. Yet, some other softwares support automatic numbering. It may only contains numbers, or a fixed document series such as SO for sales order document. It may have year in the number and a counter that reset yearly. Now how about your existing system, Mike?
My existing software offer both automatic and manual document numbering. But my company stick to the automatic one for ease of use and consistency. Unfortunately, the document series are static and cannot be changed. So all of my sales order document number always starts with SO. I cannot differentiate between local or export sales document. Lisa, SIM document series is indeed more versatile.
Hardly not to agree, Mike. This is the interface of the document series in SIM. Document locking is a feature that makes sure only one user can edit the same document at the same time. Its sole purpose is to ensure data integrity, especially document status. Other software may have this feature or not. You must check with the software vendor for more information. In SIM, this document locking feature is automatic. It not only locks the viewed document but along with its related document. For example, when you are currently open a good issue document, then the related sales order documents are locked as well. This is to ensure while you are working with the goods issue, the sales order document that you are related with are not changed or even worse deleted by other user. In case of power failure and your documents are still locked, you can always unlock them via menu open document.
Good point, Lisa. But I am not sure about my existing software. I must check with my vendor later on then.
This is the interface of open document. Here you can see which documents are currently being locked by whom. You can unlock a document from this menu. While document locking lock a document. Period locking will lock a period or a month in SIM. Once a month is locked, then user cannot enter of modify document that has document date on that month. In SIM, open and close period is done via master period menu. You can allow several continuous months as an open period. But it is a best practice to keep minimal open period. When is a period must be closed? Well, it is normally after all transaction on that period is entered and the accounting department already calculate its general ledger. If you use production, then you must make sure all job orders are completed and calculate COGM is done. Other softwares may not have this feature, or have this feature but only allow single open period. SIM has approval feature. This feature will allow or disallow a document to continue to the next step in the business process flow. In SIM, approval is based on user instead of role, can be based on document value as well. For example, user A and B are both manager. But user A can only approve up to 10 million rupiah. But user B can approve up to 200 million rupiah. SIM also has approval list menu which lists documents that need your approval. Other software on the other hand may not have approval feature. Or has approval but based solely on role. On the left side is the master approval form where you set the approval setting. Once again, approval is set based on document series. On the right side is the approval list. It shows which documents that need your approval. If a document can be approved by more than one person, then that document will be shown on each person. To approve a document, just double-click the row. The form will be shown where you can view the whole document before decide to approve it or not. To approve, just click the Approve button on the form.
Lisa, this approval list is what missing in my existing software. How about if I am currently in other city and a document is urgently need my approval?
Well, if your database is in cloud or internet and you have a laptop with you, you can still enter SIM and approve it. Or you can access the web interface of SIM to approve the document too.
Wow, that is great.
Grid is a spreadsheet-like component in a software. It is mostly used to display detailed data such as sales order detail, material. In SIM, the grid is named Grid Control X, where X stands for extended. In other software, the grid may support only sorting based on a certain column. Well, in SIM you can do much more. You can both sort and filter your data. Maybe you do not need certain columns. You can hide them if you want. You can move column to the front or to the back. Grouping based one or more columns are supported too. You can show summary such as sum or count as if you are working with Excel spreadsheet. You can copy-paste a cell, a row, or even all data in the grid. You can export the data to Excel. You can freeze some columns to aid you when scrolling. And the most important thing is that what you already arranged can be saved into a layout file. And SIM will remember the last layout and use it next time you visit the same form. This is the sample Grid Control X interface.
It is very versatile and complex grid, Lisa. In which menus these grid available?
This grid is available in most of the form that need to show detail in a table-like manner.
Awesome.
Text box X is a special text box in SIM. Its main purpose is to browse data. For example, when you create a sales order, you need to enter customer code in a text box. This text box X has a browse button with 3 dots next to it. When you click this button, then a dialog is presented with a grid to choose the customer. In SIM, the text box is combined with optional label. In case of customer, once you enter a customer code, then the customer name will be shown next to it. Text box X support auto check. If you enter wrong data, then your input will be yellow colored. If your code in master customer are all capitalized, then when you enter code in lowercase, SIM text box X will automatically convert it to you to match the code in the master customer. This ensures data consistency. The dialog shown can have filter too. And what that make this text box is so powerful is its ability to be customized. You can modify what columns to be shown in the grid. You can modify the filters too. It is also support multiple layout. On the left is the text box X appearance. On the right is the dialog shown when you click the browse button. In the upper part of the dialog is the filters. In this case it has 6 filters: document number, document date, customer code, delivery date, currency, and lastly document status. In order to use filter, check the checkbox in front of a filter. By default, data is shown maximum 200 matching rows. You can change it or give more filters. You can customize the default layout by clicking the Customize button. Once you are done selecting a row, just click the Select button or double-click or press Enter to choose the row.
So if I want to find sales order that has specific information, I can alter the layout?
Correct, Mike. Just use the Customize button. Type information column for both filter and select. Save the layout and use the newly created layout instead.
Wow, this is very nice feature, Lisa. My existing software definitely cannot do such thing.
Range selector is a combination of 2 text box X and an option button. This component is used in report form to act as a filter. Using this range selector in SIM, you will be able to filter based on single value, range value, in values, or not in values. For example, you can filter customer up to K but exclude customer B and C. You can even add or modify the available range selectors in a report form. You can even create one brand new filter which does not exist before. For example, you may want to create filter based on user list. And use this range selector against created by field of a document. This is useful when you want to filter sales order documents based on the user who create them. In other softwares, their report form may contain single text box filter. So you can just do filter based on single value. Or it can support range value such as from customer A up to customer C. And most of them are usually fixed. There is no way to add or modify those filters. Mike, on the center bottom is the sample range selector to choose currency in a report. You see that it is composed of two text boxes for from value and a to value. It also has an option button next to it. When you click the browse button, the usual text box X dialog appear for you to choose the currency. The same thing with the browse button in the second text box X. Now when you click the option button, an option dialog similar to the right is shown. Here you can choose in or not in, and fill in the currencies. In this sample you are filtering the report to show only document in Australian dollar and US dollar. Do you understand, Mike?
Yes, I do, Lisa. This is a powerful filtering feature. My existing software only has from value and to value filter, so definitely cannot use in or not in as in SIM. And what is more, that in SIM I can create my own range selector. Seriously, Lisa?
Yes, Mike. I am 100% serious about that. SIM is a very configurable piece of software. It allows you to create new range selector, attach that selector to a report, or even modifying existing range selector to suit your need. But modifying existing selector must be done cautiously not to affect existing reports. Now, Mike, SIM also has a reminder facility embedded inside. With this facility you can create a reminder normally you write on your book or even those sticky notes on your computer screen. The reminder is dynamic and you can create as many as needed. The reminder can be personal, such as just for you only, or you can make it to share with your teammates. This reminder is shown each time you log in SIM. If you accidentally close the reminder form, you can always access it back from reminder menu. If you want to open a document, just double-click the document number from the reminder form. Use case scenario includes showing list of goods issue not yet invoiced. Reminder that list overdue sales invoice for collection department. Other softwares may not have this facility or have a limited one.
You are correct, Lisa. My existing software does not have this feature. I ended up looking at a report daily to find goods issue not yet invoiced.
This is the interface of such reminder. In this case I have 3 reminders, where each is shown in a separate tab page. If I want to open a document, then I just simply double-click the row.
Yes, Lisa, this is a nice feature indeed.
Dashboard is a tool that displays summarized data about your company in form of charts. SIM provide you with highly customizable dashboard. You can define what to display using a database query, and pick the chart type to display the data. A single chart in a dashboard is called a dashboard item. You make a dashboard by combining several dashboard items in table layout. You can make multiple dashboards and assign users to each dashboard. Dashboard can be set to full screen and have auto refresh and auto repeat if you have multiple dashboard. This is a sample dashboard interface in SIM.
Wow, what a nice dashboard. My existing software has a dashboard, but I cannot configure it like what you said, Lisa. And I cannot show it full screen in another screen if I have a dual screen.
Yes, Mike. You can configure dashboards for your boss and make them auto-refresh to show real-time daily data such as sales data.
Robot? I think that SIM is a software, Lisa, not a robot.
Ha ha ha. True, Mike. SIM is a software, not a robot. Robot in this case is a software robot who can automatically enter data into the form as if someone is typing.
Oh, a robot software.
This robot allows you to enter data in Excel instead. And later on ask the robot to enter data in the Excel into the form. Example use case is when your production employees are not really computer literate and only familiar with Excel. Then you can just prepare an Excel template where your employee can fill in. Later use the robot to enter the data. Another case is when you have customers who frequently place many orders. You can give them an Excel file and ask them to fill it instead. And later use robot to enter it into sales order menu. The first step is to create an instruction set for the sales order menu. Each instruction is a mapping between a single Excel column to a control in the form. Next, just make the Excel file with those columns. Run the robot by choosing the instruction set and the Excel file. On the upper left is the sample instruction set mic, while on the right side is the robot user interface.
Wow, Lisa, this is very totally cool thing. I can even has a use case already in my mind for my company.
What is it, Mike?
Well, I can use it for my traveling salespeople to enter their sales order. They can just enter them in Excel when not connected to the network since my database is on-premise. Later on when they are come back from other city, then I can use the robot instead. Currently they even write the order in a book using a pencil.
Great idea, Mike. I need to mention to you that SimRobot is the attended or assisted robot. It still need a human helping the robot when an error occurred or when a message box is shown. But it is definitely much faster than enter the data manually. Mike, are you a gamer?
Yes, I am a gamer. I played PC games as well as console games too.
Well, some game titles provide you an expansion pack. Expansion pack will give you more items, storyline, characters and so on than the original game. Yet in other game titles you can even create your own game map.
Yeah, I love those games, Lisa. It make me want to play the game again to finish the expansion.
Well, Sim also has similar feature called expansion. The purpose is to add things that the original Sim does not have. For example, in Master Material you can add additional fields such as color and size. Or in Goods Issue document you add additional field called Expedition to fill in with the expedition vendor that you used to send your goods to the customer. To be exact, this feature is called Expansion Definition, where actually you add the database table definition by adding your own field or column. The data type is not limited to string only, but can be of date, Boolean true or false, or even decimal to save such as quantity or money amount. All your expansion definition will appear in tab Additional in the targeted form. You do not need to code any single line of code. Sim will automatically save and load your fields from the database for you. It take less than a minute to add expansion definition. Most of other softwares do not have such feature. Few softwares have similar capabilities by providing several empty reference fields, like ref1, ref2, ref3, and so on. But they are all free text and you cannot change the label to color, for example. On the left is the master expansion definition grid. It shows all of your defined expansion definition. On the right side is the additional tab page of the goods issue form. It shows you all your expansion definitions or fields. When you do not have any expansion definition for a form, this tab additional will be hidden.
Wow, this is very interesting feature, Lisa. In my existing software there is no way for me to add additional field to a form. If I need a new field, then I need to make formal request to the software vendor. And if the vendor agrees, then the vendor will give me an invoice based on man-hours needed to implement my request. And you said it only take a minute to add a single field?
Yes, Mike. You heard me correctly.
I am super impressed now with this Sim software. My vendor will take at least 2 weeks to implement such minor change. And I still need to pay for it.
Agree. In Sim, adding an expansion field can even be done by non-programmer too. And this is one of the strengths of Sim software. This also make the Sim can adapt to your company better than other software. This kind of thing normally available to you for custom-made software only. Custom-made software is way more expensive than standard software. With Sim you can have a standard software but with a custom-made taste. Expansion hook, or hook for short, is a feature that allow you to add code to the software and normally used to add meaning to your expansion field. Example: add code to check that shipping must not be empty when sending to different island. Add code to calculate total weight and freight cost before save goods issue document. There is an automatic code template generated for you. Just fill in the part with your code. The programming language used is C#. You can even code and debug your hook using Visual Studio. Hook can be created by your internal programmer or software developer. If you do not have programmer within your company, then you can ask your consultant to help with the hook.
Wow, seriously, Lisa? I have never seen such a feature in other software before. It looks like making a mod in a game where you can modify the game mechanic.
Yes, Mike. It is very similar to a mod in certain games.
Is Sim open source, Lisa?
No, Mike. Sim is not an open source software. Your hook code is actually compiled separately and on the fly. Then it will be combined with the Sim itself. This is the hook interface where you can generate a template code. Just click the template button on the upper right corner. Modify the generated template to suit your need. Click the compile button on the upper left to check if your code contains any error or not. Once it is okay, just click save. Now go to the form that you already add the expansion hook. And test whether your hook code functioned properly. More detailed explanation about expansion definition and expansion hook can be seen in the expansion guide. Document flow is a feature that is used to track related documents. For example, if you know the sales order document, then you can track its goods issue, delivery return, if any, and its sales invoice. Or the other way around, when you know the sales invoice, then you can track back to its sales order document. In Sim, document flow is shown in a visual flow chart. The depth level or how many hops can be changed to. It includes material tag number trace. So not only you can track sales invoice back to its sales order, but you can even track it back up to its production order document, raw materials, or even purchase invoice and the goods receipt of the raw material. You can also navigate the flow by double-click the document. Opening the document is just as simple as right-click the document. Other softwares may not have this feature or have it in form of a grid or table. And normally they can only track at the document level, not up to material level. This is the interface of document flow in Sim, Mike. What you need to do is just to enter the document number in Doc No Parameter. The default max level is 3 and click the Show button. Your entered document is shown in green box. Previous related documents are shown on the left of the green box, while next related documents, if any, are shown on the right side of the green box. So the flow is from the left to the right. Documents are shown in white boxes, while the red boxes are the materials. If the link line is somehow not clear or overlapping with other link line, then just move around the boxes with your mouse.
Lisa, this is a helpful feature. My existing software does not have this feature at all. To know sales invoice document from a sales order, I need to view at least 2 reports. First, I will go to Goods Issue Report with filter of sales order document number. Write down the goods issue number, then open yet another sales invoice report. And filter it by the goods issue number.
True, Mike. Without document flow, it will be cumbersome to find such links. Imagine if you are a packaging company. You may receive high-resolution image file from your customers for their packaging. Where do you think such file is saved within your company?
Well, a sales department person will probably receive the file from an email. Then save the attached file on his computer. And later on pass it on to the production department via email, flash disk, or shared folder.
Well, Sim provide a facility called document files that connected to a FTP server. Once your salesperson save the sales order document, just open the document again. Open the Files tab and upload the image file. This way, you other people in your company can get the image file just by opening the sales order document. No need to find through emails or shared folders. And only the one who can access the sales order has access to the uploaded image file. In this case, you can also retain the original file name from your customer, since Sim will create a folder in the FTP server automatically. And you are not needed to set security for shared folders anymore or many FTP users. Sim only needs single FTP user set in master setting. Just make sure that the FTP user has capability to create folder and upload or delete files.
My existing software does not have this feature. I ended up create a shared folder for them. But it is like a junkyard there, since each user just copy files without any order. They do not create folder for each document number, and therefore it is hard to find back the files. And what's more, I give all users the same access to the folder, so I bet someone might accidentally delete someone else's file too.
Cannot agree more with you, Mike. Without document files facility, it is difficult to make it in order. This is the interface of the document files. It shows you the file name, file size, last modified date of the file. You can see to that user Daniel is the one who uploaded this specification file on the 12th of May 2021. To download the file, just click the download button or double-click the row. Custom master means you can create your own master table and its user interface to fill in the table. For example, you may need to create a master brand to be used in your extended master material. You just need to define the table name such as Z Master Brand. The table name must starts with Z to avoid conflict with existing SIM tables. Next, set the primary key column name such as brand code. And define its size, let's say 20 characters. Save this custom master and SIM will generate the database table for you. To add additional field, use the expansion definition explained before. Let us say add brand name as the expansion definition with size of maximum 50 characters. Next, we need a way to let user use and fill this new master brand. In SIM, you can create a new menu by entering the detail via plugin detail menu. So create a new menu master brand in the plugin detail. Quit and restart SIM software to load the new plugin detail. Then give access to the user via menu management. Log out and log in again, and now you will find master brand menu in your SIM. That's it for adding a new custom master. The whole thing should take less than 10 minutes.
Amazing. I am totally speechless now. You can even create a brand new menu with SIM. And that menu even connect to a brand new table that I literally create by myself?
Yes, Mike. What is more, that you can add expansion hook too to your custom master if needed. And a range selector is also generated for you, so you can add this brand as filter in, let's say, your sales order report. This is the interface of custom master, Mike.
Wow, this is a very simple interface. Lisa, what is header max control, by the way?
Oh, sorry Mike. I forgot to explain to you before. By default, your brand name which you add via expansion definition will be shown in tab additional right. If you want to move this brand name to the tab header in the front, just specify 1 in header max control. So essentially, it is just the maximum number of controls to move from tab additional to tab header. Custom transaction is even crazier than custom master. Here you can even create a document or transaction that is not available before in SIM. Suppose that you want to create a transaction to book a meeting room. Booking a meeting room is definitely out of SIM scope. To create a custom transaction, define the header table and optional detail tables. You can use up to 3 detail tables. As usual, you define the additional fields using expansion definition against your new header and detail tables. Once done, as with the custom master, create a brand new menu such as room booking via plugin detail. Restart SIM and go to menu management to give access to this new menu to a role. Log out and log in again and test your room booking transaction. What is more, you can set whether this room booking need an approval or not. And whether this room booking is printable document or not. Lastly, expansion hook is also supported too. This is the sample interface of our new room booking custom transaction. Here I define the document type as Z room booking. Remember, it must starts with Z to avoid conflict with existing document types with SIM. Title is the title of the form. Header table is the header table name, also starts with Z. Do not forget to add H at the end to signal that it is a header table, not a detail. And fill in other fields as needed and just click Save button. What do you think, Mike? Mike? Mike, are you with me?
Oh yes, sorry Lisa. I am just in shock with SIM capabilities. This is too wonderful.
Ha ha ha. Let us continue. Report layout is the visual arrangement of the data in a report. For example, for sales invoice report, you may have layout that group the data based on document date or salesman or customer and so on. In SIM, one report menu can have multiple layouts. Each layout is saved in a report file. You can modify existing report layout or add new report layout. This can be done using Simple Report Designer or the Advanced Report Designer. User can also see the raw data that form the basis of a report. This raw data can be filtered or even exported to Excel for further processing. Once you save a report layout, giving it to other user is as simple as copy-paste the file. In other softwares, this may be represented in different menus. One menu for each layout. So you will have menu report sales invoice per date, menu sales invoice per salesman, and menu sales invoice per customer. Or it may be in a single menu with options to group by date, salesman, or customer. Some softwares may have this kind of feature as well. The left is the interface of a report chooser. This is where you choose which report layout to show. You can create new report layout by clicking the custom report. The simple report designer called Report Customizer is shown as on the right side. There you can fill in report title and subtitle. Change the paper size and margins. To show data, just add the fields or columns in the detail band. After that, you can save the layout or show the layout preview via report menu on the upper left. If the simple designer is not sufficient for your layout, you can choose Advanced from the report menu. This will launch the report designer. Here you can do much more things, including add calculated field, add a chart, or even add some code to the report to make conditional coloring.
This is good, Lisa, because some departments may need different report layout.
True, Mike. Currently, actually, SIM already has more than 300 report layout files by default. But even then, customers keep on adding their own layouts. Because each company actually has some uniqueness in its business process. So feel free to add more or modify existing one. But make sure to back up those files in another location, since a SIM update may replace your modification accidentally. Well, creating a brand new report layout is sure nice thing. But what about if there is no such report yet available? Or the report menu is already available but it does not contain the fields that you need? Well, in this case you can use SIM powerful feature called Custom Report. It allows you to create a brand new report menu that not yet existed. This is called creating the report from scratch. This is normally done by your IT staff. The only needed knowledge is a standard SQL language to select the report raw data from the database. You can also define what are the parameters for your report menu using range selectors. Such as whether your new report need to filter based on document date, customer code, currency, and so on. As usual, you add your new menu via plugin detail. Restart your SIM and go to Menu Management to give the access to the new menu. Log out and log in again and voila, your report menu is there. The last step is to create the layout as in the previous report layout we just discussed. In other software, doing this thing will require the software vendor to make the modification for you. Of course, you will be charged again based on man hours or man days used. This is the interface for the custom report. As you can see, you only need to fill in the SQL query in the first tab. Report password is the password in master setting that will be asked when a user try to customize the report layout. The second tab is where the report parameters. Once done, you can test your query and your parameters by clicking the Show button on the first tab. When you are happy with it, then just click the Save button.
Well, this is intuitive interface, Lisa. I think my IT guy can do it since he knows some SQL query.
Glad to hear it, Mike. Report management is a feature to have some restrictions in place for the user to edit, view the report. Like I said before, custom report will ask you for a password so that not all users can modify your report layouts. With report management, you can also restrict the user not to see the raw data. Print or just view only. Whether a user can export the report to PDF or Excel file. Setting a default layout when you have multiple layouts for a single report menu. Or even hide one or more report layouts for specific role. SIM also support the notion of a print counter for some reports. This makes sure that a document is printed only once. In order to reset the print counter, you must go to the Reset Print Counter menu and give a reason in doing so. The history of the Reset Print Counter can be seen as well. On the left side is the Report Management interface. On the upper right is the interface for Reset Print Counter. And on the bottom right is the history of Reset Print Counter. Now let us move on to the database section. SIM adopt an open database principle. Meaning the SIM database that contains your company data is in your full control. You even decide the database server password, and the software vendor or your consultant cannot even access your data unless given permission by you. So what are the advantages of an open database? Well, for one is that you can integrate with your existing other systems or softwares. Since you can read into the database tables. Next is that you can manage the database using your own preferred tool such as MySQL Administrator, Heidi SQL, Workbench, and so on. The most important thing is that you can have multiple databases. One for testing purpose and one for production or live database. Yet another one is for tax purpose and so on. And in the future, if you will not going to use SIM anymore, then you can move your existing data to the new software. This open database principle has one main disadvantage. Is that you can accidentally wreak havoc inside SIM database. To avoid this, always avoid update SIM data directly through the database. Consult your consultant if you really need to do so. Other softwares on the other hand mostly will adopt closed database principle. Meaning you can do nothing about the database itself. The advantage is it is safer since no one can modify the data beside the software vendor itself. And it is also useful for the software vendor to protect its intellectual property from another software vendors or competitors. Well, the disadvantages are clear for this closed principle. You do not have control over the data and it is very hard to migrate the data once you no longer use the software. How about your existing software, Mike?
It is a closed database principle for sure. Since I am not given the database password by the vendor. In essence, open database give you the most flexibility but also come with greater responsibility then.
Exactly, Mike. But as long as you do not modify any data within SIM database but just query to select the data such as for reporting purpose. It has the same safety as the closed principle but with the flexibility of open principle. We know that your data is very important to the ongoing of your business. Therefore, one must do regular backup of the database for disaster recovery strategy. Since your server hardware can be broken suddenly, SIM has internal menu to do the full backup and restore of the database. The backup is then automatically compressed using 7-zip and password protected. With this menu you can back up a live database and restore it to another database for testing purpose. Backup must be done regularly such as daily. If you afraid that you may forget to do the backup, you can schedule the backup via report schedule feature. What about other software? Other software may only allow backup and restore via its menu since it is closed database principle. Or rely solely on database vendor tool to do the backup and restore. This is the interface of full backup via SIM menu. All backup files are saved in backup folder in your SIM directory. To avoid network congestion, try to do backup in the server instead of the client.
My existing software has the menu to do the backup and restore similar to SIM. But I am afraid that the backup files are not compressed or even password protected.
Well, beside just backup and restore database. Actually, SIM also support optimized database or optimized tables. This is similar to reindex table in Microsoft SQL Server. Upload data is a SIM feature to allow you to upload initial data before you are live using SIM. There are a lot of stuff to enter such as initial stock balance, master material, master customer, supplier, account payable, receivable, and so on. Using upload data you can upload those data from Excel or CSV file. Get the template from SIM itself, fill in the template, and upload it. SIM will also check some data consistency during the upload and notify you if an error has occurred. Other softwares may have this kind of tool but maybe with limited capability. This is the interface of upload data. Choose a destination table such as stock. Click the Get Template and save the template file. Fill in the template with your data. Go back here, choose your file and click Show button on the upper right. Your data will be shown in the grid. Select stock as the destination table. Choose whether to overwrite existing data or not. And finally click the Upload button.
This is a fast way to transfer the initial data. After SIM is already live in production, can I use this facility to upload, let's say, new customer?
Sure, Mike, you can use it afterward. But it is better to use the master customer form itself rather than Excel file since it is more intuitive. And the form normally has more rigorous check than the upload data. In summary, you can still do it, but it is not the recommended way.
Noted, Lisa.
Okay, let us continue. This feature is to delete all data. Why one has such feature, you may ask? Well, in the beginning you may enter all your master data and also testing and practice all the transaction menus within SIM. Once you are ready to live and move SIM into production, you do not want to enter again all of your master data as well as settings. This include master users with its roles, all the document series, approval settings and so on. But you do not want those trial transaction documents to be kept in production database. So in SIM you can opt to delete either master data, transaction data, or both.
I remembered that my existing software did not have such facility. I ended up fresh install again before live and start putting again all those master data and settings.
Yes, Mike. That is a sure tedious work. With this facility, when you are trying SIM or still practicing, you can enter all your real master data without worry to re-enter them later on. This is the interface of delete all data. You can even still handpick which tables that you want to keep too. So the granularity is up to table level. Closing data main purpose is to reduce the amount of data in production database by removing very old data. Very old in here is depending on your company need. One may need to retain only 3 years worth of data. SIM has this feature. Always back up your database first before closing. Once your database is closed, SIM will create a new database containing the closed data. This way you can still access the old data by connecting to the closed database. Other softwares do not have this facility and closing must be done manually. Or maybe few softwares will have this too. This is the interface for closing data. Choose the year to close and click the Closing Data button. Data transfer is an interesting feature. It allows you to transfer data from one SIM database to another database. It is different than backup and restore database. In data transfer you can decide what data to transfer. For example, you have two sales order document series. SOL for local order and SOE for export order. Here you can transfer only the local order to the destination database. It has two modes, either send or receive. You configure data transfer using SQL queries. Do not worry, SIM can generate SQL query template for you to start with. And all this data transfer can be done automatically every day via report schedule. Other softwares do not have this feature. If they adopt open database principle, you can install other software to do the data transfer. This is the interface of data transfer. Choose the date range and mode. If you choose send, then the server is the destination server. Check all of the data transfer items that you want to transfer. And finally just click transfer button. Once done, you can view how many rows of data are transferred in tab summary. If an error occurred during a data transfer, it will be shown as well. If you use report schedule to run this data transfer, that summary log will be emailed to you as an Excel attachment.
Wow, this is a feature that is lacking in my existing software. Currently my company uses special database for export-import documents for tax purpose. This special database need to be on the cloud since the interface is a web. While the actual full database is actually still on-premise for security reason. This make my people ended up entering the same documents twice. This is a lot of hard work and error prone.
Yes, Mike. Entering the same document twice is really tiring you down. Fortunately SIM is able to help you with that scenario. Not only that SIM adopt open database principle, it also allow you to see the SQL queries or API calls if you need to. To do so just open SQL event menu. And do some stuff such as opening a report or even save a document. If the menu already use SimCore, you will see API call instead. In order to see the underlying SQL queries, just turn on the debug mode during login. It has query duration information too to identify a bottleneck if your report runs slow. This is also used by SIM team internally to do bug fixing or identify a problem fast. Other softwares do not have this feature, especially those that adopt closed database principle. This is the interface of SQL event window. It does track all SQL queries run by your SIM application. It does not monitor other queries run by other user in other computer though.
I think I can use this when I want to make a new report which is similar to existing report. I can grab the select query and modify it for my new report.
Very keen observation indeed, Mike. That is one possible use case of this SQL event window. Datalog is the internal logging mechanism in SIM. All queries except select query are saved in datalog table. This is useful to track a document change up to its SQL query level. For example, as to find who changed the price of a sales order document and when that happened. Note that a document may be changed by multiple users at multiple times, so checking the changed by field sometime is not sufficient. SIM can show you the date and time as well as the user ID used to execute the query. But SIM datalog cannot capture query run outside from SIM, such as when you run script from MySQL query browser. Please periodically back up and truncate this table to avoid having very large table. You can do so by scheduling backup datalog via report schedule. What about your existing software, Mike?
My existing software does not have this kind of database audit trail tool. If a change has happened in the document, I just check the changed by field only. And if wrong data entered and no one to admit that mistake. A few times this thing will cause heated debate within my company.
Yes, Datalog is one of database audit trail capable of finding the change history. This is the sample interface of a datalog. Normally you want to filter based on query. For example, you want to find history of a document. Simply put the document number in the query parameter. And give some date range for SIM to look for. Check data is another tool in SIM to check data integrity. This is done via menu check data. A detailed report will be shown to show which parts are incorrect or inconsistent. This will save you from tons of hours of manual checking. Other softwares do not have this feature. This is the interface of check data. Just choose period or month to check. Click check button to start checking. Scroll down the report to find any data discrepancy. Recalculate stock is a feature to fix the stock balance and the stock table in case you make mistake in master unit conversion. For example, one box is supposed to be 20 PCs but you entered 12 PCs. Meanwhile, there are already transactions that use the wrong conversion number. To do this, fix first the wrong master unit conversion. Stop any transaction that use that material. Locate when is the first document that use the material. Then recalculate stock using that material as a filter starting from the earliest month of transaction up to today. Other softwares does not have this facility. Fix is normally done by making adjustment in or out. Or even by creating new material and/or new unit. This is the interface of recalculate stock. Choose the period range. Make sure you recalculate up to today. Choose the materials. Press calculate button and wait until it is done.
Well, this does seem like self-healing mechanism.
Yes, Mike. You can say that. Compare stock is an integrity tool that compares stock values in table stock against their general ledger values. Example. Raw materials in stock value is 100 millions while in GL value is 105 millions. This discrepancy may arise when one upload wrong GL data before live or has the master material transaction type wrong. Normally it is used as the next step when check data finds any discrepancy in the stock value. You can compare the start balance of a period, the movement of a period, and the end balance of a period to locate in which period the discrepancy occurred. The compare movement will list each document number along with its stock value and GL value, also the difference. Once you found the material or document that problematic, then you can fix the wrong data. You may need to use recalculate stock or do the posting again afterward.
My existing software does not have this kind of tool. To look for discrepancy, I need to look through all the available reports. Well, maybe even I do not know if there is a discrepancy data in my database.
This is a diagnostic tool, Mike. This is the logical next step after check data. This is the interface of such comparison. It took the period and account number. It will show you the balance in stock table versus the balance in GL account. The difference must be 0 or very small, near to 0. Now let us talk about user interface of SIM. The main interface of SIM is the desktop application. All of form that you see before are all part of the desktop application. It run on Windows operating system. It uses MDI or multiple document interfaces, meaning that you can open multiple menus in a single application. Other software can run both in Windows or Linux. Normally they are written in Java language. It may not use MDI so that you can only open one menu at a time. Or use older technology that visually less appealing. If a software is a desktop based, normally it does not have web interface. This is the main view of SIM desktop application. Here you can change the company logo and change the background image. Your company name and the software version is shown in the background. On the upper title you will see the user and role that you use. The database that you use. On the right corner there is a hidden collapsible panel that show you your recent documents.
My existing software is also desktop-based application, but it looks old and does not support MDI.
I bet it does not have a web interface?
Yes, you are correct, Lisa.
SIM also offers a complimentary web interface. Not all menus are currently available, but most reports and few transactions are available. Your custom reports are available in the web interface automatically. It has two components: SIM Core, the web API, and SIM Angular, the web interface. Both components can be running on the same server, and the server can be Windows, Linux. Even though web-based, it still support MDI, where you can open two forms at the same time, similar to the desktop interface. Support expansion definition by default. Hook is also available in form of webhook. The difference is the hook is written in JavaScript instead of C#. Other softwares that offer web interface most likely not offering desktop interface. They may implemented using technology such as PHP or Python. The server can also be Windows or Linux. And it may not have web API interface, making it impossible to integrate with other system. This is the SIM Angular interface. Look that it still have the company logo and background similar to existing desktop app. It even support multiple document interface too. Other software may need to open another menu in another browser tab. Your range selectors, custom reports are working here as well out of the box. Even report management is also working here. Any expansion definition will be working out of the box too. You can access the fields in additional tab page. Document files are also supported as well. Even approval list and reminder works as well. But double-click on the document may be shown only when the transaction has a web counterpart.
This is nice. I can access my custom report through website. It means that I can open it on my Android tablet or even iPad.
Sure, Mike. As long as your web server has public IP address or public domain name. You can access your report or custom report from home or any other location. SIM also offer mobile interface as the complementary to the desktop application. The mobile app support both transactions and reports. It has customizable menus based on SIM mobile hook technology. You can save temporary data in mobile device via download or upload menu. Report displayed in PDF format, thus make it possible to share it later on via email or social media such as WhatsApp. Report menu support complex filter such as range selector. It can show your custom report layout or even your custom report menu, but you need to configure it first. Other softwares may not have mobile application in their stack. Some do claim to have mobile app, but it is actually a website opened using browser in mobile device. And some do have mobile application too. If they have mobile app too, then I do not think it can be configured like SIM Mobile does. It most likely to have fixed menus, and if you need to add one you need to pay man hours again. This is the sample interface of SIM Mobile Mic. Currently it only support Android devices. The left side is the login view. You can add a company logo and background as well. Login will need a connection to SimCore, meaning you must on the same local network with SimCore, or your SimCore need to be in the cloud. Once you are login and somehow your handphone is restarted or the application is closed, you can log in using your last login offline. Next is the sample transaction in SIM Mobile. It allows you to enter stock transfer document. Next is a sample report menu. It support range selector and choose the report layout file. After click show report, then the report server will do the work for you. Once your report ready, a link to the report is generated below the show report button. Just click that link to show the report in PDF format as seen in the right side. The generated report is exactly the same no matter whether you are accessing via desktop, web, or even mobile app.
Wow, this is truly amazing, Lisa. I rarely see a software that has multiple interfaces like SIM. And to know that my custom report even can work in all of them is just amaze me.
Yes, you now know after this journey with me how big SIM is. What SIM is capable of doing. Even this super long journey does not cover all of the nook and cranny inside SIM itself. Lastly, there is an experimental interface called Chatbot. It supports WhatsApp but can be modified to use Line or Telegram. It supports customizable keywords and conversation paths. It is based on simple state machine, thus does not have natural language processing. Its possible scenario includes used by the directors or managers asking about daily or monthly omset. Used by the salesman to query about current stock when asked by customer on site. This is the end of our long journey in introducing SIM. Remember that this is just an introduction to make you familiar with SIM software itself and its capabilities. It does not cover each business process steps. Those are explained in other guides. If you are interested in using SIM for your company, then I suggest that you contact SIM Consultant and ask for a demo. With the demo you can try SIM firsthand and check all of transactions, reports, and features. I hope I am not bored you, Mike, with this presentation.
Not at all, Lisa. Now I am very impressed with SIM and look forward to use its demo version.
Thank you, Mike, and other participants for your time. I am Lisa and that's all for today.